Another story time while I'm sitting out here waiting, see what this rain gonna do here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. A few years ago, before my late ex-husband passed away, um, we still would talk over the phone. Because we raised children together, and we were still part of each other's lives, one way or the other. Even though he was living with a stripper, girlfriend, that wasn't my business. It wasn't hardly my business. I didn't care. But anyway, we were talking, and I told him about how I went to church one Christmas when everybody was wearing red, and that's a color in the sanctified church you're not supposed to wear a lot of. But for some reason that year, everybody wore red to the Christmas dinner, Christmas fellowship. And I wore my red. It was beautiful because I hardly have a chance to wear it. Not church, can't wear it around the house. Beautiful outfit. And I was in the dining room chatting and talking. That's what always got me in trouble with men. Talking. I'm an easy person to talk to. I love conversation, preferably with men. Women are too competitive. And I was talking to this super old member. He was supposed to be a minister. I don't know what went on in his life, but he preached everywhere else but where we were. I don't know. I guess he couldn't read or something. We were just talking. And I noticed this old guy. He had to be about 80. Um, just eyed me up and down in that red tulip outfit. I'm curvy. Can't help that. Ain't nothing nasty about having the shape. Y'all church people need to stop that lie, making women feel bad because they're still attractive. And you not. Well, anyway, he was checking me out. We were just talking. I noticed what he was doing. I ain't paying attention because I'm a woman. And I was kind of used to that. But from him, and he was an old crusty minister. He not even, I would pay any attention to him, not even sinful days. And then he reached in his pocket. Lord, started grinning, and those teeth, the few he had left. First time I noticed he have all his teeth, because I ain't never get that close to that man. I ain't allowed to talk to him. Just being nice. Reached down in his pocket and pulled out some money. It was old money. I believe the money about old as hell. He was, if that was still in print, he gave me an old, wrinkled, been through the river, been through the storm and the rain, blueberry money, $10 bill. And I said, okay, well, so what's this for? He said, no, that's just for you. You know, I've never been a blessing to you. I'll check out my comb. And I just want to do that. And I said, like, okay. And I told my husband. I told my ex-husband. And I was laughing about it. I noticed my ex-husband wasn't laughing. He didn't think it was funny. Many times we talked about church people because I was on my way out of the um, traditional church. I was ready. I was on my way out then. I was tired of it. He wasn't laughing. He said, mm-hmm. All right. I finished the conversation with my late ex-husband. He was still living then, but like I was talking to him, he was dead, all right? So don't even think that. Hung up. Now, but before I hung up, I said, don't forget, I said, you coming to church? I didn't, I think it was the next day was a Sunday, either that afternoon or whatever. I said, yeah, I'll be there. I said, I'll see you then, okay? Hung up and I started doing whatever I was doing. But an hour or so later, my youngest son called me back and said, Mom. I said, what is it, Brandon? He said, you need to talk to Dad. I said, I just talked to your dad. He said, no, you need to talk to him because he got the gun and he getting ready to go shoot somebody. I said, who he go? He said, so-and-so, minister so-and-so for giving you that $10 in church. I said, it was funny to me. I stunned that old man. He said, but I heard my ex-husband in the background. He said, my wife ain't no so-and-so hoe. He was upset because he felt like I was being disrespected because the old dude gave me $10. $10 wouldn't even put gas in my car. I was driving that Chrysler then. It wouldn't even, I said, look, tell your dad, calm down. So he can come. He ain't no Mom, we ain't coming. He don't need to come. He's upset. And I hear it in the background, and my ex-husband was upset. Boy, he was cussing up a storm. He was cussing up a storm, that MF. And he was using words. I lived with a man for 25 years and knew he was a cusser. I didn't know he could throw down like that. Woo, child. I said, you stay home. So I pray for you and you stay home. I had no idea. Women, you don't need to tell everything. You don't need to tell everything. It was funny to me. What was funny to me was not funny to that man. Even though we were no longer married, we divorced in 2017. I lived in one city and he lived in the other. Our children were grown. He wasn't playing that. He didn't like the fact. He said, you don't be disrespecting my... Now I was his wife now. That's what he called me then. Even though those papers signed, okay. The things that would have happened in that service that night. If my ex-husband would have gotten that car, he was a little tipsy. If he would have gotten that car with my youngest son and drove into that mess, that preacher had no idea what would have been waiting on him. A few days later, after I gave him a chance to calm down, I called him. I said, you all right? He said, yeah, but that so-and-so better not do that blank again. Y'all fill in the blanks because I don't use those words, okay? He said, better not do that again. None of them better not roll up on you like that again. We don't need to tell them everything. God is not the author of confusion. Let me tell you, I don't know how I would have preached that one out. I don't know how I would have preached that one out. My ex-husband went up in that church and cut loose the way he wanted. He was already sick of those hypocrites sitting there anyway.